Hey everybody, and welcome back to the DevMarketer channel. We're continuing our series on Laravel 5.3 new features. Now I know it's been a while since our last video, and that's because I've been super busy. I talk about it in another video. Don't need to go into it again, but basically been super busy. But now I'm getting back into it. I was checking in on some of these previous videos, and I actually saw that you guys really enjoyed the Laravel 5.3 new features series. And I think it's still very applicable right now. There's still a lot to learn that we didn't go over that I want to cover. So we're going to go ahead and continue the series and make sure that we cover everything in detail. Now, one of the things that I was looking back and reading the comments, and I got some stuff on Twitter about this too, a lot of people were wondering how I got a folder called this folder called Nodemodules in my project, and I guess a lot of you guys didn't. So today's video is going to talk about what that folder is, how you keep it up to date, how you get it if you don't have one, and all of that great stuff. All right, so let's talk about the Node Modules folder. A lot of you guys are wondering why you don't have a Node Modules folder, or if you do have it, you might have been wondering what it does exactly. Well, the Node Modules folder is basically the exact same thing as the vendor folder that you might be familiar with down here. The vendor folder is all of your source code for Laravel, basically, in addition to any of the other packages that you installed. So you might be familiar with Composer, and Composer is what installs all of the PHP packages that we have. Inside of our composer.json, this is all the packages that we have and or that we want to use in our project. And if you were to find another package out there on the internet that you wanted to take advantage of, you would just come down here and add the package project, and you would add the name and so forth like that. And then you run composer install, and it's going to pull that package in, all of its dependencies, so that you can take advantage of it, right? Well, it pulls all those files into the vendor folder. That's what's happening. That's what this vendor folder does, okay? So just think about this vendor folder. This is all of the source code for all the packages that you got, including all of their dependencies, all right? Composer is the one that maintains those. Composer figures out what packages you want based on the composer.json file. And starting in Laravel 5.3 is another package manager system called NPM. And this stands for Node Package Manager. All right? Pretty basic, but I just want to make sure you guys knew that because this wasn't in Laravel 5.2. Okay? Now, how do you tell it what packages to install? How can we look at what's being installed through the Node modules of the Node Package Manager? Well, just like how there's a composer.json folder, this is for our file. Tells all of the packages that we want that are PHP projects. We have the same one for JavaScript, okay? And then the Node modules, they're all JavaScript packages, basically, okay? Go over to package.json, which is at the bottom of your list, and these are all of the JavaScript packages that we want to pull into our project, okay? You can see we got Bootstrap Sass, we got Gulp, jQuery, we've got Elixir, which is a Laravel first-party project package, and we've got Vue and Vue Resources if you want to do Ajax with Vue. Okay, and this is Vue.js. So that's kind of some of the stuff that's being pulled in. These are all JavaScript packages that we want to take advantage of. And you can add more of those if you want by just adding them to your package.json, just like you would add a PHP package to your composer.json, okay? It's the exact same thing. And when you run composer install, remember it goes out and finds all those packages, downloads the source code, and puts it into this vendor folder, right? And that's where Laravel finds it. Well, whenever you run these JavaScript packages and you use npm or yarn, we'll talk about those in a second. Whenever you use one of either npm or yarn to install those, just like composer install, you can run npm install or yarn install, and it will go out, find these packages, install the source code, and it throws them into a folder called Node Modules, all right? And that's what this Node Modules is. Think of Node Modules as the vendor folder for your JavaScript packages, okay? So if you want to add more JavaScript packages, you would just add them to this package.json. If you want PHP packages, you add them to composer.json. For PHP, you run composer install. And then for JavaScript packages, you run either npm install or yarn install, or just yarn. Okay, so let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk about what is this yarn and npm. All right, well, let's dive into it. So let's go over to Chrome real quick, take a look at some stuff. You can see here I've got yarn open, and we also have the npm, which is the node package manager installed. Okay, so this is where all the packages are found. So for example, let's find that gulp one that we were looking for. If you search gulp, you'll see this is the package that we're going to download. And this is where it's stored, basically. It's actually stored on GitHub, but this is the link. This is the repository that links it all together. Okay? So you can install these using two different programs. All right? So Composer is basically the preferred program for the PHP ones. But when you're dealing with JavaScript, you can choose one of two programs. There's npm, which is this, the one that's made here. And for the longest time, we always used npm. npm was really the only solution. And so you can install npm here to get it installed. You run npm install and you'll get those node modules. However, I highly recommend that you actually look into a new file, a new package manager called Yarn, okay? And that's where Yarn comes in. Yarn is a direct replacement for npm. It gets packages from the exact same place as npm does, so you're always getting the same package. You can use any of the packages that are in npm. You can also use with Yarn. It gets them from the exact same place. The difference is that Yarn's a lot faster. It's a lot more secure. It uses a lot less resources on your computer. It's just better all the way around. And Yarn was built by Facebook because Facebook was trying to use npm so much and they were having constant problems. So they developed their own package manager called Yarn, okay? So I highly recommend you use Yarn, and I'm gonna show you guys how to install it and then how to use it. Okay, so before you can obviously run yarn install, you need to install Yarn itself, right? So let's go to yarnpkg.com. That's the website. You can click install Yarn, and this will give you instructions on how to do it for your operating system. Now I'm on Mac, and so I highly recommend you just use Homebrew. This is how I did it. You'll want to run brew update because Yarn is only a week or two old. So you'll want to run brew update, make sure you got the new packages, and then run brew install Yarn. In just a little bit, you'll have Yarn, and you can go ahead and start using it. For those of you guys on Windows, you'll want to download the installer and run that. And then on Linux, it's a little different depending on which distribution you have, but you'll basically use like apt-get or wget, depending on which one you have, to go out and grab it. Okay, so that's all it takes to get Yarn installed. Now let's show you how to use it. Okay, so what I'm going to do here actually is I'm going to go ahead and just delete the node modules folder. Let's go ahead and delete it. I just deleted all the node modules, okay? So I'm gonna show you guys how to get them if you don't have them already. We already know what they are. Let's learn how to get them. So I'm gonna head back over to terminal, and we're gonna clear this out. You can see I'm inside of my Laravel 5.3 project. Now before you run Yarn, go ahead and make sure you have it. You can run yarn -- version. This will tell you which version you're running, which tells you that it's working. If you get an error, you know you don't have Yarn installed. And then after you know you've got it working and you're inside of your project, you can just run Yarn. That's it, Yarn, just Yarn. And then click enter, and it's gonna go out and find these packages, install them, and download them to your computer. All right, you can see it's already created the node modules folder, and it's almost done here. Just let it complete, and there it goes, okay? So that's how fast it was. If you were using npm, on my computer, npm takes over a minute. But with Yarn, it only takes 10 seconds, which is incredible, okay? Absolutely incredible. It's so much faster, and it's so much cleaner and just better all the way around. So I highly recommend you'd use Yarn from now on, all right? So that's it. That's basically how you get that node modules folder. A lot of people were wondering, and that's what it is. Node modules is basically the vendor folder, but for all of your JavaScript packages. So if you run across the JavaScript package you want to take advantage of, you just need to go over to your package.json, add it to the list, run Yarn again, and it will go ahead and pull that project in, and it will add it to the node modules folder so that you can take advantage of it, okay? That's all there is for today's video today. Hope you guys learned. Hope it was helpful for you guys. I saw a lot of questions, so I just want to chime in and help you guys out. I got more new features coming for Laravel 5.3. Just stay tuned over the next few days. We're also starting a series about Vue.js, and I'm really excited to do that. So I'll see you guys in the next video.